Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Brenda, and welcome to Keep It Moving. I can tell you that one thing I'm glad about this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Although, y'all, so many things happen. Today is keep your hands off of our social security because truly, Trump, he just cutting up. I mean, he has let a person that we did not vote for just take over the federal government. And he probably don't even know what he's doing because he sure don't know what he's doing. Have you looked at your 401k? If you have a 401k. You know, I'm mainly talking to us seniors. And what we're worried about more than anything is our Social Security. Most of us don't have the luxury of having money that we can live off of, whether we get Social Security or not. And if you do, this is probably the money that you felt like you would go on vacation with, travel the world with, go see the children with. You know, a lot of times our children have moved away, and we like to go see them. And that money affords us the opportunity to go see them and kiss our little grandkids and spoil them to death and then leave them. You know, I was sitting at home watching television, watching all the people gathered up, and I decided, you know what, I'm getting up myself, and I'm going to go out for at least an hour. And I went to this senior building, and I got me a couple of signs too. One said, "Dump Trump." Well, I'm sure that people would like that. And the other one said, "Keep your hands off of our Medicare." You know, he's coming for our Medicare, he's coming for our checks, he's coming for people with disabilities. You know, many of us have children or grandchildren who are disabled, they might be autistic, all kinds of different elements that are hitting the young people today. And we need help. You can't do that by yourself. They have big hospital bills. I remember when my grandson was, I think, about 6 or 7, he had to get cataracts, y'all, removed from his eyes. Now, who ever heard of a 6-year-old with cataracts? But he did. And thank God we had insurance, because if we had not had insurance, I don't know what I would have done. At that time, I was taking care of him because his mother had passed away. And when she passed away, she was living with me, and I didn't want to, him to make that many changes. So I just kept it myself until he was about 10 years old. And then my daughter and son-in-law, God love him, took him, because, I'm 76, y'all. And he was hyperactive too. It was a little much for me. I would have did it, because you do what you have to do. But I was very glad when my son-in-law asked me could they take him. I love him. He spends every summer with me. He calls me almost every day. And he's really a good young man. He loves the Lord. And that's very important, because, a lot of young people, they don't love the Lord. Some of it is the parents' fault, because you have to train up a child in the way they should go. I had mine at church when he was like 2 or 3 weeks old. My mother would hold him, God rest her soul. Sometimes she was the church mother, sometimes he would be almost on the floor, but he never did fall when the other mothers would go get him. But, I instilled that in him, and I am so glad. A lot of people, they don't want religion in their life, but we need something in our life. And I would say we need God in our life. Because nowadays, you just don't know. It might come to, I know people probably say, oh, that would never happen in America. But you know what? I'm 76 years old, and I've seen a lot of things happen in America that I thought would never happen in America. So I would not ever say that maybe they might decide they don't like our religion, take our religious rights away. So we have to have it in our heart, y'all. You know, we have to. And you know, seniors, I know a lot of seniors suffer from loneliness. Their children are gone. They're home alone. They're busy. They very seldom call. And I'm just going to say, I was looking at something on television that was saying that loneliness can kill you, you know, because you feel like you have nothing to live for. So I'm telling you to join a church, join a senior citizens building, senior citizens center. They have centers. They have lots of activities for the seniors. I'm a companion. I still kind of work, y'all. I'm a companion for this 93-year-old, and I'm telling you, she's real peppy, and she lives to go to the senior center. And, you know, I go with her, and I sit, and she's so thrilled that I get to have lunch with her at the senior center because I live in the town, at the town that she goes to, and I can have the lunch at the senior citizens center, and she just thinks that's the best thing. You know, I'll tell you, I'm on a diet, and that helps me stay on the diet too. You know, and I tell you, I begin to walk again, y'all, because walking adds years to your life. Did you know that your legs are the first to go? So why do I say keep it moving? I say keep it moving so that you can be around. You have a lot to give. You have a wealth of experience. Don't just keep it all to yourself. Get out there. Join a group. Whether it's a church group or a senior citizens group, they have walking groups. At our senior citizen building, they have a little of everything. All kind of games. I don't get really involved in that. And they play cards, like the 90-year-old that I watch. She plays cards every Wednesday, and I pick her up at 11. She'd be sitting out on the porch, y'all. Now, she's really exceptional because even though she has a cane, which she walks faster than most people just without canes walk, she lives by herself. She takes care of her house, and she loves to play cards. And she usually wins, y'all. She usually wins. They play some game, I don't really know what it is, but sometimes when a person don't show up, they have me to set up. It's canasta or something like that, and it's like they play with 5 or 6 decks of cards. Child, I don't know nothing about that. But they say I do good, but you know, they probably just want to make sure that somebody don't show up. I'm willing to play in their place. But it's fun. They have good, clean fun, you know. And there's guys, there's women, and they all get along good together. It's all different nationalities. There's white, black, Chinese, Hispanic. A whole lot of, you know, I always say this is just like heaven's going to be. Get along with your neighbor, y'all. That's what Trump would like us to do. He would like us not to like each other, not to love each other. He would like to be a divide between blacks and whites and the browns and the blacks. And, you know, he wants us to hate the Hispanics. Now, I'm the first to tell you, if you snuck over here, you need to sneak back to wherever you came from, unless your life was in jeopardy, because it's not fair to the people who do it the right way. But I don't think you should be treated like you're not a human. I mean, they took a lot of people, no due process. I think you should at least hear their story before you send them back to their country. And dividing up families and loved ones, I think that's cruel. And I think somebody's going to pay for that later on, you know. But right now, that's what's going on. And so that's why I went out and marched held up. Well, I didn't really march. I held up my sign. It's hot out here, child. It's like almost 90 degrees. It might be 90 degrees. I made sure I had on my sun hat because, I'm not one for sun, I've always stayed out of the sun because I'm trying to stay away from wrinkles. And I know they're coming because it's only natural. And I got some, y'all. People be saying, oh, you don't hardly have any wrinkles. You just haven't looked closely. Because I look closely. And I know what I have. And I know when people say you haven't changed a bit. So you mean tell me that when I was 50, I was looking like I'm 70? Oh, I'm 76 to be exact. And I am happy to tell y'all because the Lord has just been good to me. I'm still walking. I can still get up and walk around and do things. I still like fashion, y'all. I still like to look good, y'all. And I still like to enjoy life. It's a group of women that I go to lunch with every first Thursday of the month. They're all like to keep it moving. And it ranges, I think the ages are from 83, and then we got what we call the baby. She's 49. She's the only one that's not in her 60s or 70s. And I think the majority of us are in our 70s. It might be one in her 60s. But we like having the baby along because we like to, see her so happy. And she's very smart because she's learning from us, and we learn from her. We don't deal with the same things she deals with. She still has children at home. Most of us don't have children at home. If you do have children at home, you better check out why. Because unless there's, they are disabled, they should be out on their own. We raise our kids to be out on our own. I love my children. God knows I do. But I don't want them living with me. And they don't want me living with them. And I don't want to live with them. And I hope that Trump don't keep cutting up because you never know what you might have to do. But I like the idea of being by myself. But I still, and I'm not lonely because I find things to do. That's why I have this little part-time job. And I'm not doing nothing hard. I don't want to have to think, like all the other jobs. I've worked in corporate. I've had 3 or 4 businesses. I've had a daycare center. I've had a beauty shop. I've had a coffee shop. And I've sold art, cosmetics. I like to be doing something. I always like that little extra stream of money, I don't like just depending on one stream of money. And I'm glad because now with Elon Musk messing with our Social Security, you never know. Because as I said once and I'll say it again, Social Security is not an entitlement. Yes. I earned it. I'm entitled to it. And I want every quarter, because all they want to do is make tax cuts for the rich. What about the poor struggling people? It's bad when you don't even make enough money to pay your rent. It's bad when you have to have a roommate, or you have to live with your parents. Because nowadays, the kids that are growing up now, they really almost have to stay there with their parents because they don't make enough money to go out on their own. Even if they get a degree, and they might make $45,000 a month. Rent for 1 bedroom is like $1,700, and for a 2-bedroom, it's $2,200, and that's apartments right down the street from me. I'm blessed because I live in a controlled rent place, and so my rent is not half of what they're paying, or a little more, but it's not $1,700. That would take a lot of my Social Security check. And then you got to eat. And they don't give Well, I know I can't get any food stamps. They said, you make too much money. Even when I was taking care of my grandson, who eats quite a bit, y'all. And they told me, no, we're sorry. You make too much money. So I guess you have to be, I think you have to have, in order to get food stamps, you have to make under $1,600 a month. $1,600 a month, y'all. And most Social Security, a lot of Social Security people do get checks of under $1,600, and so they qualify, and God bless them, because they need it. Because once they pay their rent, the food money is just about gone. Well, I've been chatting with y'all long enough, and it's been really nice. And all I can say, keep the faith, and remember to keep on moving. Because one thing that you can rest assured of, he has the whole world in his hands, and that's God through Jesus Christ. So I'm not talking about no Trump, because he would like to have the whole world, but the whole world's turning against him because they about tired of his mess. But don't get me started on that again. I'll be rambling on for another 10 minutes. So I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye. And again I say, keep it moving.